pose a problem, unfortunately, especially if you are in certain areas in which there is, trees, shrubs, whatever it may be, that could potentially cause you to go down. Those are issues. So those are things that do need to be rectified. And again, it's going to take a firmware update for DJI to push it. That's why you see people putting a GoPro on top of these. It's because they aren't quite happy with this HD camera, and they're willing to sacrifice performance for a better video, which is silly because this thing can have a great camera. It's just DJI does need to fix this. Some nice notable things that I did find in there is they do have an ability to crop out the props. So there's a image distortion correction. You turn that on, you'll no longer get props in your shot, which I think is pretty cool. ND filters do help keep the props out of the shot. But all in all, I find the field of view works great. The 4K 60 looks really good for the most part. I just think they can make it a little bit better. The lack of 30 frames per second is a little disappointing. I like to film in 30. So lately I've just been taking 30, dropping it, or 60, dropping it into a 30. But that can sometimes cause some sort of stuttering in your timeline. So keep that in mind, that you only have 60 frames per second and 50 frames per second if you're overseas, that is running on the PAL standard. So yeah, all in all, the camera isn't terrible. It's just not great. I think it's going to get better with the firmware update, but we'll have to wait and see if they do that. Let's talk about the radio control here, because this thing is actually really solid. The RC on this for me was super familiar. In flying FPV for about a year and using the Tango 2 for almost 5.5 months, as soon as I picked up this controller, I felt right at home. As a pincher, I feel like this controller does strike a good balance in size, and I don't feel overly cramped, and it's just really well built. My biggest annoyances with this RC is the fact that this scroll wheel here, as a pincher, you can see, my I don't know if it's my index finger or what finger, my ring finger tends to rest on that wheel, and as I am flying, I tend to change the gimbal pitch, which will in turn make the drone go slower or faster, depending on which way you are going with that wheel. So that's a problem, something that I would like to see them correct. Is to maybe make this where we can lock this in flight, or remap it entirely, which would be awesome. I guess, for me, I wasn't used to the fact with an RC like this, down and in starts the props if you want to fly in normal or sport mode, and then if you double tap this is going to start your motors in manual mode, which is cool because you sort of have like a pre-arm switch so you don't accidentally press the arm switch and then disarm your drone, or arm your drone when it shouldn't be armed. So I mean, that is a nice safeguard that they do have. It is a little bit annoying when you first get it. You do have to make it to where your stick drops all the way down, especially if you're going to be flying a manual. This took me the longest to do. You do have to take these back plates off and adjust it going back and forth with an Allen key. It took me about a good, 10 minutes or so to really get the stick to be where I wanted it to be. But once it's there, it's done. You don't have to worry about it again. They do have the lanyard holder on here, which I think is great. I do fly with the lanyard. But something that is missing from this that I think a lot of the Mavic pilots would probably have wanted is some way to mount the phone directly to your RC, which I also think would be a great idea, simply because if you did want to flip your goggles off really quick and fly it back to you, and you want to fly line of sight, you'd have some sort of clamp or something to be able to look down at your phone. I think that's the only thing missing. And again, I really speak more on that for the guys that are transitioning from the Mavics, because it would make them feel a little bit more confident knowing that they still have a safeguard in the fact that they can flip their goggles up and see exactly what's happening and not have to worry about a phone in their pocket or something. So that's really my only gripe. And then one small thing is just these little sticks here are a little bit fiddly. I end up leaving them in so often because these little M2 screws are a pain in the ass when I'm in the field to get in. I keep dropping the sticks. A couple of times I've actually dropped this, and then I was on a wild manhunt to try to locate the stick that I dropped in the grass. So I wish that was a little bit less fiddly, but it is what it is. Alrighty, so in conclusion, what do I think of it as a whole? Well, I think that it's nice to have reliability, and I think for the most part, the FPV drone is probably the most reliable FPV drone on the market today. Whether you agree with that statement or not, it's hard to deny the fact that you can buy this ready to fly out of the box for, what is it, $1,200 with goggles, RC. There's a lot of value in that. And when they initially released this, I didn't quite understand the value that you get by getting goggles for a lesser price. You get the drone, you get an RC. So you're getting a complete ready-to-fly kit And I think that that in itself speaks volumes for who this is really for. Again, there's people who've never had a chance to fly FPV, this is what it's for. Now, on the flip side of that coin, it also makes it a little bit dangerous for people because you never flew FPV, you don't know all the rules, and you tend to do stupid things. So I would just say that if you do decide to buy this, try to be as responsible as possible. Stay away from people, stay away from moving traffic, cars, vehicles. Don't flip it into manual mode if you're not ready. There is no shame in flying in sport mode or normal mode. You can stay there for the rest of your life as long as you're happy. But don't force yourself to do things you're just not ready for, because again, at the end of the day, this is an investment, something that you spent your hard-earned money on, and if you wreck it, that shit's on you. It's not on me or anybody else that's talking about this product. But I think there's a lot of redeeming qualities. It's just finding what it's really good for. For me, I love the long-range capability of knowing that if I send it, I'm gonna get it back. Chances are I'm going to get a pretty solid shot. And flying over water here in Florida is a lot less stressful with this drone than it is with my other drones. There's too much that can tend to happen, and at least with this, I have a better chance of making it back to me for the most part, and I use air quotes for the most part because I have had some close calls with this, but it's been honestly really solid. So yeah, there you go. So that's what I think of this after using this for 30 days. I'm pleasantly surprised, actually. Pleasantly surprised, and I wouldn't say I love it, but I don't really hate it. It's got a cool spot in my fleet of drones, and I'll continue flying it, but I still honestly do prefer my custom-built quads. Like, for me, that is still like what I prefer, and I will still choose those over this any day, but that's just what I'm used to. So maybe your choice, first choice, will be the FPV drone. All right, that's it. There'll be a link in the description below if you're looking to pick one of these up. If not, well, don't buy it. Maybe you build one. And if you want to build one, I'll include a link to my build that I fly every single day, so you can build exactly what I build. So there you go. That's gonna do it. And hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay original.
These gloves, fantastic. Matches this. Matches this. This matches these gloves.
Alright, so today we're talking all about the DJI FPV drone. This is probably the first FPV drone to go mainstream, so no surprise there's a ton of questions about this thing, and we are going to go through a lot of details. So this video is going to be a long one. Sit back, grab some popcorn, and use the bathroom now if you need to, because we're going to be going in deep. There's actually a lot of questions that I don't have answers to, so DJI is meeting us here, and they're going to be helping us answer some of these questions. But first,
I love these
try to get a quick flight before they get here.
Help with brushing your teeth.
I know you guys have mentioned that there's a cinematic mode coming. What can you tell us about that?
Going to be a 24 frames mode with the ability to run a 1/48 shutter.
If it's going to be 1/48 of a shutter, is it going to be overexposed? At that point, do you need ND filters, or there's no aperture control in the lens, right? So
would that be countered with ISO going really low, or is ND filters going to be a thing that's needed?
So that's a scenario where ND filters are definitely going to become necessary when you're shooting in bright light.
I know right now Freewell is making some ND filters